conversation.
I know, I felt
is.
Are we
bad.
recording already?
We are.
Oh,
Right? Yeah.
I think you...
this is giving me PTSD.
I know, I was worried.
From
I thought I should sit
being
over
interrogated?
Yeah.
Because it's like, we're both on this side. It's the psychology of the arrangement. He's alone.
Yeah.
Over
Our chairs
there.
sit slightly higher than yours too, just to kind of give this like sense of superiority over you.
I feel the inferior complex right now.
No,
I'm just
no.
like,
Wait, why? What PTSD? When were you interrogated?
when I was in Germany in high school, me and my friends did some shit.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
JC beat a polygraph machine one time when he was a kid. Mm-hmm. And
This is true.
I mean, it's
Beat.
so. What was the crime? Let's start there,
Oh man. Wow.
and just leave out last names.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to say any names. I feel so bad about this. This is like one of the things that I feel super bad about in my life. It was like spring break or something like that in Germany in high school. And I was like in 10th grade or something. And I had some ratchet friends. And like it was like my skateboarding friends. But we had two skateboarding friends, or two of my skateboarding friends, Brent and Dylan. They're going to know exactly who they are. Brent and Dylan.
You know who you are, Brent and Dylan.
But they were like the school bloods. They're like the Wigger dudes who were like the bloods or whatever. Anyway.
They just claimed Bloods, or were they like legitimately in the gang Bloods?
Yeah, well, I feel like Brent may have been because he was from North Carolina and he was kind of like super ratchet. So I was like, okay, maybe you're in a blood or whatever. But Dylan
Okay.
showed up and he's just like saying he's a blood, and I felt like it was one of those like, oh, I'm in a new school, I can be whoever I want to be, and he chose
Right.
blood.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me anyway. Anyway, we were bored. There's nothing to do. It was super rainy, and I remember they were like, "Oh, we should go to the school and like steal a computer or whatever." And I was just like, "Yeah, sure, let's do that. Whatever." Yeah. So they start planning and stuff, and I was like, "Well, I'll be the lookout, I guess." And I was like, out because I was like super into like video games and stuff like that, and I was like, "Man, a stealth mission. This is what this is gonna be." So down. So on base, I had this whole plan. On base, there was like they were testing bombs close to us. So you'd see a flash, and then you'd hear a big burn, and it would like last like 4 seconds. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna time whenever you hit the glass to break into the school to the bomb and all this shit. And I was just-
Genius.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was-
were the mastermind, correct?
Yeah,
kind of.
look
but
out my
unbeknownst to me,
ass.
well,
Correct? FBI, if you're listening, the mastermind.
but
right?
to me, I thought it was like a fun thing. I never thought that it would like
right,
actually
you're just
happen.
like playing, and then like, wait, what? Like
Oh,
we're
my-
doing it? We're really doing this?
Oh my god, yeah, that's
Oh
exactly
my
how it
gosh.
went for
There's
me.
no turning back at that point.
Yeah.
Peer pressure is too real.
Seriously, and we were bored as hell. Like, what, we're gonna go to the bowling alley again or watch another movie on base? Because like, yeah, we're in the middle of Podunk, Germany, like in the south of Germany. There's nothing to do. So anyway, we go do that at the school, and like there, I had it all planned out and stuff, and then like the flash happens, and then like you hear the brrrr, and like a cartoon right after the brrrr, it's like silent. I'm like, did he do it? And then you just hear. Like, the
The
loudest
timing didn't work.
the loudest glass break, and I'm like, and that's when it hit me, like, oh my god, this is real. And my other friend was there, and they like, yeah, they stole some computers and cameras and stuff, and I was just like scared, and like then my adrenaline took over, and I just kind of like was like, yeah, I guess I'm with you guys. I don't know what to do, you know. And then that rest of that week, they like hid in some like, there's a kid named Milky. They hid in some
Of course there is.
what's it called? There's a little shack out in the woods that was by my buddy's house, and they hid the gear there. It was like a camera and a couple computers or something,
Okay.
and it was so weird. So anyway, fast forward to we get back to school. I told my girlfriend this for fucking some dumb reason, and all of a sudden people like MPs are at school. My stepdad is like the head of the MPs, by the way. So I'm just like, oh, this is scary. And then the CID comes, which is the Criminal Investigation Department for the military. So if you like mess up, like in the military in general, like if you're like an MP and you steal something, they show up. They're like the feds of the military. So they show up. Long story short, I got in trouble because my girlfriend fucking told people on me or whatever. So I'm just like, oh.
So the MPs come just because there was a break-in.
Yeah, and I felt so bad too because like it was my favorite teacher's class. Like she's like my favorite teacher. Like she's one of the reasons I'm in film, and like that was another like weird moral.
Was she
thing for
like
me.
crying, or was she
Oh,
really hurt
1,000%.
by it?
Like the first day back, she was devastated that somebody would even do this.
That they stole from the school.
Well, this and just from
And
her
her classroom.
class, yeah. And yeah, it's like it made me so sad, and I just remember I got to the point where I was a suspect. It was like me and like obviously like they were right. It was like the people who like kind of did it, you know? So I'm like super scared and terrified because like, I'm like, oh dude, my stepdad's going to kill me. This is going to be bad for his career. Cause in the military, you get to think about that, which is such a weird thing about the military, or how people see you. It really changed my like dynamic in the community, which I hate saying out loud, but like, that's when I understood that you could be viewed different by people. You know, it was kind of like a scarlet letter that I wore for the rest of high school.
Right.
I was already the skateboarder Spanish kid, which was like, ugh.
That's two strikes right there, buddy.
Dude, seriously. So I remember like gathering my friends. It was like on some Lord of the Rings shit or Game of Thrones shit. Like gathered everyone. I'm just like, okay, this is the plan. So whatever you guys say, like, because we had to go write down like our statements at the police department, and I'm like, memorize what you like. We all need to say the same story here. Like that's the only way this is gonna work if you want to get out of this. Like we're just kids, we're stupid or whatever, but like everyone memorize your goddamn story and write it down and just do that. Like always say what you wrote down because that's how they're gonna tell if you're lying or not. Cartoonishly, everyone does write it down, but they don't. They're like getting interrogated, and they're just like misquoting themselves. You know, I'm just like, I stuck to my story because I like, and my story.
Because I'm a performer, I got this.
Yeah.
Well, also
You're a professional.
Yeah.
well, also I'm a bad liar, so I wrote. I wrote the
Everything
truth.
true,
I just
right.
left out
Sure.
the bad parts.
Right.
That's
Honestly,
So what was
by
the
omission,
story you told?
lies.
You were hanging out. You guys
what
were
that saying is.
having a
weird-
good time, but you didn't come to the school and break into it.
Yeah, that we were hanging out. I wasn't at the school per se, but I was spending that at my friend's house, and that I just went to the bowling alley, hang out with my girlfriend, which I actually did because I went to the bowling alley after because I was like, this is too weird, and I went to go
Well,
see
and
her.
plus you needed an alibi, so.
Yeah, you built
Yeah, but that
in.
bitch gave me up. She's the reason I'm in all this shit in the first
Is
place.
it her fault? You shouldn't have told her.
Oh, 1,000% I should have
Yeah.
told her. She's the worst. So
When you have a secret,
Actually, no,
you
she's
shouldn't
super
tell
nice.
anybody a secret because people can't keep secrets. I think human beings are incapable, actually.
Telling zero
Not true.
people is the only way.
It's
that
the
is
only
true.
way.
That's the best way
But-
to know.
It's the only way.
Some people can keep a secret, some people cannot.
That is true.
Somebody told me a secret once. Like, no, I'm just kidding. What if I just like divulge?
I used to be
crazy?
bad
I
at
think
keeping
some people are
secrets. Now
just
I'm like,
better.
so good.
Some people might be
Nice.
better at it, but inherently, I don't know. Secrets
Well, it's
are
just if
unhealthy.
you want a secret
They're
to stay a
stressful.
secret, tell zero people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
then
I mean,
it's
that's
your
just
secret.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, okay,
it's
so
Oh yeah.
you get pulled in. You got your story straight. They all fucked up their stories.
Dude, so they all messed up their stories. Two of them got like literally deported.
Oh no.
Got taken back to the States, like can't be in Germany anymore. Because also it happened on German soil, so that means the Polizei are involved. That's what this feels like.
It's like
So
way too many military interventions.
Right.
For
Oh my
me.
God.
This
Like,
is an
too many
international
layers.
issue.
it was a small thing, but it's also a place where nothing happened, so they're just
Yeah.
like so stoked. Like
Sure.
I remember the CID agent who knew, like he knew I was lying. It was like I like still remember him. He looked like an extra in The Office or something that you'd probably see in the background stapling paper or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just like, I'm gonna get this kid. I could just tell when he talked to
Wow.
me and stuff like that, and I would just like lie to his face. And he knew. He's the only one that knew. He's just like, no, this little like, I know what you're doing. So
He saw it how it was. Huh?
so then I had to like go to the Polizei and talk to them, and the Polizei are terrifying. They're like, they have mustaches like you, all of them, and they're fucking
Yeah.
so serious. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
German. But they're like
They
so
look like Paul.
serious. But you know what's interesting about them that I found, well, what I found interesting about my interrogation with the Polizei guys was that they brought me into a room, they sat me down just like this, and then they asked me like moral compass questions. So they're like, do you have any tattoos? And I'm like, no. And they're like, do you smoke cigarettes? And I'm like, no. Like, if one of your friends was smoking cigarettes and like their mom said they shouldn't smoke cigarettes, would you like tell their mom? I'm like, no, but I'd tell him that he shouldn't smoke cigarettes, you know? So they're like kind of gauging me. And they asked me questions like this for like a good half hour. And then they're like, okay, so did you do this, blah, 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 blah. And they're going through, and I know I memorized what I wrote down. So they're going through my list. And I was just like, no, I did not do that. Did do that. Did not do that. Just going through it. And they're like, And this one dude just like puts a cigarette out and he like walks outside. I'm like, oh, great. And the other guy's just like staring at me. Like, you know how there's the
Good
interrogation thing
cop,
where you have like,
bad cop.
oh, they're both the bad cops. Like, they're
In
playing it
Germany,
very-
we have bad cop and worse cop.
well, it was funny. Like now that I think about it, they're more neutral cops because it's like they didn't give a fuck, but they did give a fuck. Does that make sense? Sure. Yeah. So anyway, the guy comes back in. He's like, all right, you're good. Like German police are not going to like press charges on you, so you're fine. I'm like, oh, cool, thank God. My mom like cried on the way home. She's like all like ecstatic for me and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy too.
But
then,
you never told her like the truth, right? At this time, you're still lying to her.
Yeah, still lying to her. And then my stepdad's like, so you have charges against you from the CID. Like the homeboy doesn't believe you. You have charges against you. I can get this expunged. You just got to take a polygraph test. But the guy that's giving you the polygraph test is like an old school like Fed who like is retired here in Germany. He's like the best of the best. Like he's like the guy, the polygraph guy in the EU. So he's gonna give you a test.
I would have tapped out.
So did your stepdad believe you at this point?
Yes,
so he was
he did.
like, I believe you.
Yeah,
So you're gonna have to
1000%.
take this polygraph.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You'll pass the polygraph because I believe you, and with this gonna all.
I think
we
it was a
can
little bit of
move
both
past
too. I think that he did believe me, and I think it was also a very like self-preservation thing because like it's also just gonna look bad on him that he is like a shitty kid, you know.
Sure. Right. So it would be
wanted
on
it to
record
be
that
true.
you were innocent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I see.
I think it was a little bit of both. So then the day comes where I have to like take this polygraph test, and I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna like? What am I gonna do? Should I just like tell him? Like just tell him, you know, as if like he's my therapist, and like hopefully he like goes with it. That morning, I like go take a shower, and my stepdad at the time had like a bunch of Maxim magazines and like a like weaved basket next to the toilet. I remember I got out of the shower and I was just sitting on the toilet, like I wasn't even shitting. I was just sitting there, just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I look down, and I see this Maxim, and like a movie in the corner of, you know how they had shows like what the articles are. One of the articles was just like how to pass a polygraph test.
Unreal.
Dude, it's crazy, right? So I open it, and it's like.
I can't.
It's like 3 or 4 things. I forget specifically what they are, but I remember one of them was like, lie. Like they're going to ask you, which is funny, right? But they're going to ask you control questions, which is like, are the lights on in the room? You say yes. What colors are the walls? They're white, because they're gauging what your normalcy is, your neutrality of your, because it's just your blood pumping. Honestly, polygraph tests are bullshit because
They're thrown out in court all the time, I think.
Yeah. You could be an honest person and just be scared in a situation, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
So that was one of them, just straight up lie. The other one was breathe erratically, where it's like kind of like control, like just breathe erratically so that like your normal heart rhythm is so weird that they can't like gauge what it is. And I was like, okay, that seems like the most plausible scenario. I'm gonna do that. So then my stepdad drives me to the place. I get in, I sit in this room, and this guy comes in, and he's like. It was like what I would assume a man in black looks like. It's just like a huge suit, like all black suit, like a little bit bigger than it should be for him. Kind of like, you know, kind of got a belly. He's got like that career belly. And then he walks in, he puts down a briefcase, says nothing to me, closes the door, says nothing to me, and just sets up his little like polygraph thing. And it takes him so long, like 10 minutes. And I'm just like sweating bullets. And he's just like putting it together, and he sits down, and he's like, so. You're Juan Carlos, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Juan Carlos. My friends call me JC, yes. He's like, all right. Then he kind of proceeds to do the same thing that the Germans do. And he's like, but he doesn't ask questions. He gives me a scenario. He's like, if there's a scenario where one of your like good friends is running at you on a lake that's frozen and he falls in, what do you do? And I'm like, he's like, what? The lake can't handle it can't handle a human. So if you go out there, you most likely will like fall. What is your gut reaction? What do you do immediately? Even though your life may be at risk as well. I'm like, I'm saving my friend. I'm like going to get my friend. I don't know. He's like, okay. Then he's like quiet for a little bit. He's like, all right, turn around. And I'm like, what? And he like makes me not face him. And then he begins to ask, and he sets me up in the whole polygraph thing. And he just starts asking me questions. And, I was breathing erratically, but I was also sticking to my like quote unquote code at this point, which is tell the truth, but like just leave things out so it doesn't feel like lying. Sure. And the irony is that like I didn't even, like now looking back at it, like I didn't have to even do the breathing exercise thing because everything he was asking me, I was telling the truth. I was like legit telling the truth. But I was doing the breathing thing. So while I'm doing the breathing thing, I didn't realize how loud I am or how like obviously I'm doing it. I thought I was like, you know, but in reality, I'm like, yeah. So and it was funny because he'd pause between questions just to listen to me breathe. Now that I know this, you know, and So get through it, and he stops and he's just like, okay, that's all my questions. And I hear him like put his pen down and his paper down, whatever. And he's like super quiet. And then he's just like, one of two things is happening here. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, you're breathing so crazy. Like, are you completely fine? Because A, you're just terrified of the situation, or B, you're aware of this situation and you're trying to like cheat this test. And I'm
Playing
like,
games with me, young man.
and again, my brain is like, I can't lie, but I can tell the truth. So I turn around, I'm like, dude, I am terrified. My stepdad's outside. I feel like this is like a career changer for him. You are fucking terrifying. Like, what do you want from me? Like, yeah, I'm having a panic attack, like right now, you know? And he goes, huh? And he stands up and he walks out of the room. Doesn't say shit to me. He just walks out of the room, closes the door. And I'm just like, oh, great. I'm grounded forever.
Right.
I'm like, my dad lives in like Florida at the time. I'm like, shit, I should maybe move with him. Like, I don't know, can't stay in Germany anymore. Then like 10 minutes pass, and then my mom comes in. I see her first, and she has tears in her eyes. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. That could be good or bad, you know? And then Rusty walks in with a huge smile on his face, my stepfather. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then the guy comes in. He's like, all right, sits them down and sits me down. He's like, so the test is inconclusive. And they're like, what does that mean? He's like, well, he's like, I'm not going to sit here and say your boy's an honest boy, but he's a good person. And I feel like he's just, if he is lying, he is only lying to like take care of his friends. And that's normal. So this stays in this room, but I'm going to tell the general that he passed and you're fine. And I was like,
Wow.
and that's how I got out of that situation.
Fucking hey, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the moment sitting on the toilet seeing the Maxim magazine is unreal.
Dude,
like moments
seriously.
like that. I don't believe in fate or God or
Kismet.
these things, but moments like that just give you pause for like,
For sure.
like,
Yeah.
well, then what is that? I mean, just a crazy coincidence, perhaps, but
Maybe
like,
so, yeah.
Anyway, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it was weird.
Incredible.
It was super weird. And then like, yeah, if anybody sees this that like knows me from high school, it's still like the saddest thing I've ever done. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad about
Especially
the
your
situation.
teacher, Mrs. Whatever. Maybe we won't say her name.
Yeah, I'm
but,
not gonna say her name, but yeah, because she was my favorite teacher, and like, and sometimes I think that like maybe people found out through other people, you know. So like, because I just know later on in life they treated me different or over like social media, like don't hit me up or whatever. But everybody else is kind of tight knit because it was a small school. My graduating class was like 80 people, but like I would say the popular kids, quote unquote. Or well, then it's like, what are they doing now? But the popular kids are like, were like weird to me after that. So I think that
It did make you cooler. Like, wow, that guy was like.
well, I mean, no,
Almost
it was
went
like
to-
it was a very like quiet and the behind the scenes thing. Yeah. Like I mean, for the most part. Yeah. But I mean, just like later on in life, like knowing that my teacher like probably knows this about me.
Yeah.
And like has no context from my experience of what it is, you know? And I was like her like diamond student, you know?
But she treated you differently after that.
No. But like later after, whenever I'd come back, because I was like, I graduated, and then maybe for the past like 3 years after I graduated, come back to Germany, and like, yeah, a little bit of like,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're that, hesitance.
It's an odd thing. I don't remember what gave me that feeling, but every human goes through it. Is like when you're a kid, well, at least like you try to be a good kid, you know? I'm a
Yeah.
good kid, right? And then like, we're human. So eventually you fuck up and you do a bad thing. Not like break your friend's Scooby-Doo thing open or whatever, but like something really bad. Like you really
Get arrested.
you get
in
arrested or
trouble.
you lie and get caught and like then there's that moment where like your clean record is no more, you know? And like I remember feeling like fuck, like I was doing good, and now I'm like,
What did you do?
man, I don't remember. I really don't. But it was like,
But I know what you mean.
I
Yeah,
did
that
something
feeling.
dishonest or something
yeah.
like that, where it was like, fuck, like I no longer can just really say like I'm a great guy the way I thought I was before this mistake, you know? So anyway,
It's
just that
called
feeling of
shame.
like,
It's shame.
called shame, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
Shame.
first time you experience
Shame.
it, the first time you experience it, it's tough, you know? And then like,
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
people look
It's
at
tough.
you different. You sort of look at yourself different, like, but it's a moment we all go through. Like nobody's perfect, you know, but it's like, I can totally relate
Yeah.
to
No,
that, even though I
Same.
can't pinpoint what I did.
It's a weird feeling.
I can pinpoint all too well so many moments in my life that align with that. But I'm like, you know what?
We don't have
Let's
to go
keep
into
it on
Yeah.
JC.
So-
JC's a special guest, you know?
Well, so a great thing you hit on there, though, this teacher, like, kind of got you into film. Like, how did that happen? Or
Yeah.
or
oh, yeah. What?
let me go even back farther. Because we met at Full Sail. We met because we both went to Full Sail. I think
Yeah.
we had both graduated by the time we met.
Yeah, we didn't meet like
But
in full.
you
so.
were there for film. I was there for music production. And you always say your love for film started with Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah.
So how old
Ooh,
were
great
you?
choice.
That's 94 or something?
Yeah, so I was probably like 8.
5 or 6 or 7?
7,
Yeah.
8.
So
6.
what was it about Jurassic Park that made you
Oh.
feel like I don't know. What was it? What was it about Jurassic Park?
Well, whenever I was younger, I was like quite the in my family, I was like quite the exhibitionist, and I was very like I had to be the center of attention. I was just like, hey, look at me at all times.
I can't relate to that at all.
Right. But I remember liking movies a lot and watching movies a lot. My grandfather took me to go see Jurassic Park in Panama. So like it was like subtitles and stuff like that. And I mean, it was in English, but it had Spanish subtitles. And we went to go see it, watched it. On the way back on the drive home, I was like, man, where in Colombia is this island where these dinosaurs are? I can't believe they filmed that. And then he like looked me dead in the eye and was just like, everything that you saw, people made. Like everything in every single frame that you saw of that movie, adults made that. And that's like a thing. And that's when I realized that like, oh, wow, like imagination, like at that point in my life, I thought that adults, like once you become an adult, it's like, you gotta do boring jobs. My grandfather was a banker. My dad at the time was in the Air Force. My mom was just married to a guy in the Air Force. Like they weren't like doing anything that was like seemed fun. And I was like, wow, you can have a job with imagination. You can just like still be a kid when you're older. And that blew my mind. And I remember we had a little camcorder at home. So as soon as I got home, I had Jurassic Park toys already, and I started making stop motion animation films. So somewhere in Panama, there's a bunch of like movies of like, and like high key, they're good. Like I spent so much time. I spent like fucking 50 hours.
Obviously, I have no doubt they're good.
Oh,
Are
they're
you
so
kidding?
good.
They're like unadulterated, pure, like child. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speculating here. But
Oh, yeah, and,
that's
like-
how I hope they are.
Oh, 1,000%. And then like I
Right.
changed like shots, you know, it'd be like a close up to a wide. Like I was like very like into it.
I love it.
But yeah, if it wasn't for that actually, if it wasn't for my grandfather telling me that, if it wasn't for that day in general, I would not be creative in general. Like that opened my
Interesting.
mind to everything when it comes to creativity.
Had you sort of thought like, I'm a kid now, but eventually this is going to end and I'm going to have to be an adult? Were you sort of thinking that way?
I just knew that the adults around me were sad, and I didn't want to be like that whenever I was older. I didn't like, I thought of it in like an innocent way, because to be completely honest, I wasn't like a self-aware human being until I was like fucking 21 or 20, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was just like, oh, la-di-da, this is life, whatever. But I didn't think like, oh my God, I'm going to die one day. Like I didn't think that until like, 2021. So I was just innocently being like, don't want to be like him. My uncle's fucking not having a great time. Like,
Right.
don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so your grandpa, when he told you this, you were like, oh my God, like there's something else. Like I don't have to do that. I don't have to be sad
Yeah.
or bored or whatever.
Yeah, and I would make this stuff, and my grandpa was just like, "This is great. What you're doing is great." Like he was like the biggest. He was like my biggest cheerleader whenever I was younger. Of just like anything that I do, like you're gonna be great at it, and like
Amazing.
you're the best. Yeah,
Amazing.
Oh, what a nice
Yeah.
cheerleader.
yeah, he was the
This is
best.
your mom's dad.
Yeah, my mom's dad. Yeah.
Okay,
that.
so then what was it about this teacher that what class did she teach?
She taught video communications class, so it was just basically like, I mean, I learned how to edit in that class. I like touched Final Cut Pro for the first time. Yeah, because we had to like take a certain like electives and stuff, or whatever the fuck they're called, and you could choose between like German, Spanish, and like Videocom. Like Videocom, obviously. And I would just like make music videos. My best friend Will, who I like knew in high school, we wrote a song together, one of our first songs together. We made a music video for it and stuff. So like the things that I'm doing now in life, like she like planted the seed of how to do them whenever I was in high school.
Amazing.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. I wish that like happened for every student in high school because it's so important. I think like as you get older, you kind of have this process of elimination, and it's easy to be like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have that job, but it's not always easy to like see what should fill in the gaps and like, you know.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
for
It's
sure.
I think, I don't know, a lot of kids don't have that kind of guidance that helps them see a path like coming out of high school.
I agree with you.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think a lot of, I'm just guessing here, but like athletes have it tough in high school because your dream is, or your dream is perhaps like, I'll be a pro basketball player. And like, you're going to realize by the time you're 18 or 19 or 20, whether or not that's in the cards, you know, versus like, I'm going to be a video editor or I'm going to be a musician or whatever, like, or I'm going to be a painter. Like that's something that can still happen when you're 80. You can become successful finally.
Yeah, for sure.
Like later.
That's
you know,
what
but
I'm
like,
holding out for.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
you're
be like
going to
a
be
badass 80-year-old. Just wait and
I'm
see.
looking forward to it. I think you will be. Absolutely, you
I'll
will be.
on top. No.
Yeah. But like, yeah. So anyway, that's a great. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I was going
Sorry.
with that. It was just an observation. No, you didn't.
Thank
You didn't
your
derail.
Thank your thought.
No,
What?
no,
Sank
not at
your
all.
thought
Not at all.
bubble?
You. So if you played sports as well, though, I mean, you played.
Yeah, I played soccer.
Football.
Did you ever feel like you were gonna like go pro?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
No, I did not at all.
I did
no,
not
I
either.
I was a skateboarder, but like I played soccer because it was like, oh, feet. You know, that's fun.
Feet. I got feet.
I got feet. I know how to use them.
Two of those.
I
Seriously.
got feet.
And then it was interesting in our school because like you could only be in the soccer team, or at least you could only be in varsity soccer if you did cross country. So like do cross country over like the
feet.
winter, and then spring we do soccer. That's a whole like another story. But dude, I will say like our last year, like our senior year of soccer was like remember the Titans, because we were the shitty team out of the whole like league. We were like the really shitty team, but we knew how to play together well. But none of us were like skilled except for one. I think we had one. Like our forward was like a killer. Like he would like kick the ball from like half the field, which is like a long distance, and like it would hit the goalie and it would knock him on the ground. Like,
Wow.
yeah, he was also the what's it called, the field goal kicker for our football team.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Feet.
Multi-talented.
He's real good with the feet. That
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, seriously.
So if you guys were the movie Sandlot, he was Benny.
Yeah, he was Benny for
Gotcha.
sure. Yeah. It was a fun.
But you
time.
never had like it was never like I'm gonna be a pro athlete. Like people
No,
would be screaming in the stadium.
not at all.
Dude, I did, which is so funny because like you're so
From
much
what?
more athletic
Basketball?
than me. Dude, basketball, football, like tree climbing. I don't know, like
Tree
all of
climbing,
it.
you
like,
could hang. You could hang.
I can hang with the tree climbers. But
Like
yeah,
I love
no,
you, but you thought you
Thank
were
you.
going to be
Yeah, like
in the NBA.
I'm on the trajectory. You know, like I'm whatever path Kobe was
Yeah.
on. I think I'm there. I
You
think
were
I'm on that
aiming for the
path.
moon back then.
I was, dude. I still, yeah. I mean,
No, but that's a good thing to have. I mean, not for
Yeah.
sports at all, but
Blind
But-
faith and success. Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah.
Sure.
Never in sports, but yes.
never in sports. That's a good thing about sports. Is it kind of like you can believe in yourself all you want, but like how fast are you? You know, like it's measurable.
Well, also one thing I learned from like some of my friends who were like good in sports in like high school and stuff is that it's interesting whenever you get to like the college area, because then it's like the how good you are is very relative to just where you were. Maybe you're just around a bunch of sucky people. You get there, and then it's a very big hit to the ego to be like, oh
Not
my
always
god.
true though.
Yes, with a lot of things, but I think as a younger human being, way more with athletics. Because then you get there and you're like, oh shit, I was Division I and blah blah blah, but you're like, dude, you are nothing compared to like the people who've been like training since they're 3 years old. Like they come from
I actually
families and
totally
stuff.
know what you mean. I like got invited to like an Olympic development tryout for soccer once.
Oh, nice.
And it was very clear I was in the wrong place when I got there. I was just like, I mean, the footwork and the control that they possessed was like light years beyond where I was at. And I was like, this is very clear. And there's no amount of like
For sure.
hustling or I don't know, trying I could do that was
You can always tell an athlete that
change
like
that.
parents were like the athlete before, you know what I mean? Because they like put them through the training, like they're like trying to relive their like success through that kid. Unless you're like super into it, there's other people that are just like into it, and some people who are just prodigies or what have you. But like, yeah, I feel like that's when you really like get knocked in your ass as a high school. At least from all my friends who were like in athletics and thought they were gonna like be something when they got out of high school, And unfortunately, then like they ended up not doing anything because they didn't take the time to like build a skill or learn something. It's like you can you can throw things or whatever. What, you're gonna work for Amazon now? Like what if you know like
Right. Well, okay. So when you were like 12 or whatever, 10th grade, whatever, not 12, but in 10th grade, whatever age that is, 15, 14, like JC, what do you want to be when you grow up? Is that like a singer or I'm going to make movies?
Director. Want to be a director until I was. I mean, yeah, I would say until I heard College Dropout by Kanye West, I wanted to be a director. Yeah. I heard College Dropout and I was like, oh, you can rap about, because I didn't like listen to underground rap or stuff like that. I mean, blogs weren't a thing. Like it wasn't easy to find random music unless you like knew a kid who knew about it. So yeah, I heard College Dropout and was like, oh, you can rap about anything. That's cool. And make it fun. That's cool. Didn't know that.
Oh, God, what an album.
The song you and Will made was, you were singing, I assume, right?
Yeah, because
like acoustic and
I got my my first girlfriend like broke my heart. So and then Will was super into emo music. Like this is like, I remember him showing me. He's like, you ever heard of this band Fall Out Boy? It's like right when Fall Out Boy came out. Like he had like
him. I've seen him live.
Ooh, he would love you. But he had like the demos of Fall Out Boy before Fall Out Boy even like released their first single and shit.
Just like what was on their MySpace page or something.
Dude,
like that.
And he's like, this band's so great, blah, blah. And then he got me into like emo and stuff. And then we just started writing songs together because we just always hung out and shit. And then my friend Asian James, which is funny because in our friend group we had two Jameses, but we called the other James Fanta, so there's no reason to call Asian James, even though he's Asian, obviously. But it kind of stuck. All of high school, everyone called him Asian James, which is even funnier. But Asian James taught me how to play E minor on a guitar, and I wrote like 100 songs just with E minor moving up and down.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Is that including Elaine on our upcoming record?
Well,
Yeah, geez,
I definitely haven't strayed from the
James.
top of the guitar, whatever the fuck the head of the guitar.
Like we like Jay-Z writes songs on guitar, you know, and like there's similarity to sort of all of them, like the strumming and the chord structure. And so like you were playing around with some guitar in Argentina, and then we were just like, oh dude, like let's do that, like record that. And then you got in there, you're like, I don't remember what I was doing. And I was like, just play literally any song you've ever written on guitar. Like just and then you started, you're like, oh fuck, that's it. That's exactly it. It was so funny. I was like, just literally play the guitar. Like
That's funny too. That like I forgot. Like I just I forgot the walk.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh,
So what would be any advice to the high school version of yourself? What would you say?
that's a good question.
Any advice to give to younger me?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I wrote a song like the other night about like the idea of dying, and then you get a redo. You get like wherever you go, and then someone's just like, hey, you're going back. You're gonna know everything that you know right now. Just get to do it again. So like you get to change whatever you want to change. And the idea of the song is that like I wouldn't change anything, even though I had I got pushed back into the ether and into myself. And I know these things. Like I don't think I would. So I don't think I'd say anything because I kind of liked the weird story that has been weaved from my mishaps and my triumphs. It's kind of been interesting.
It's a beautiful answer.
That is a beautiful answer. Wise words.
Thanks. Yeah. I really thought about it too. Like sat there before I wrote it because of the whole hospital situation recently. Like it wasn't like it's whatever. I'm completely fine, but it's made me think about it. You know. And
You went to the hospital. You had, just for people listening, you had like a problem with your heart. You had a pain in your heart or something, and
I had like a kind of like a heartburn thing that was in my like left chest. I'm like looking at cameras on my left chest.
How did Niko describe it? Your heart loves too much.
Yeah,
he said.
Yeah, he said my
Your
heart loves too much.
too big.
Too big.
I'm just like, I mean, well, yeah, you're technically right. It is too big right now. No, I'm kidding. But the exterior's inflamed. I'm taking medicine for it. I can have beers in the medicine. It's chill. But something's up with my lungs, which they don't know about. They say it's in post-COVID people that are young, which is interesting. It's like small little blood clots.
Because you think you had COVID like back in, what was it?
When we went to Argentina.
That was September
2019, before the whole world knew about it. And my only reason for thinking that is because my grandmother got it in November of 2019 because they went to the Macy's Day Parade in New York City. And then 3 days later, my grandmother, because my grandmother lives with my mom and my stepfather in West Point in upstate New York. And she was walking down the stairs and my mom's like, why do you sound like you're choking on water when you breathe? And they took her to the hospital and she had walking pneumonia. And they're like, how the hell? She's super healthy. How'd she get walking pneumonia out of nowhere? And then a couple, like maybe January, February, a little bit later, my stepdad got like the whole base got like the antibody tests and like tests and stuff. So like, oh, you know what? We should test your grandmother. And then she had the antibodies. So she had COVID. She like had it. So that would be my best theory as to why there might be something up with my lungs, because I haven't had it since then. I mean, or maybe I got it and I don't even know about it. And like, you know, I was like an asymptomatic person and had it for like a week or two without even knowing.
Through it.
So now you two are both in this little club of kind of second chances.
Yeah, well, yeah.
life.
So I mean, regardless of like how like almost dead you were, it gave you pause to sort of look at your life from this lens of like, what if I die right now?
Yeah, the idea of impermanence has been in my head.
And
for sure.
so you landed on like, I wouldn't change anything up to this point. But was there anything that you were like, because I had this experience, there were a lot of things. I was also feeling that way. I was like, you know, I've been living my life. Like, you know, I mean, I'm in Peru, you know, like I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah.
But like moving forward, I got to do more or like other shit or like focus on shit, you know, like did it give you any of that? And what would those things
Fire
be?
under your ass?
Well, I mean, I've kind of had the fire for a little bit here, but kind of like a little bit on, to be completely honest, only because man, I don't know actually. I've been so focused on like analyzing the thoughts and that I've had recently that I haven't analyzed too forward. It's just kind of been like analyzing presently. But yeah, in a sense I do, but it's a weird thing for me because I have this very odd thing with, and I sometimes I feel like I'm lazy and maybe you feel like I'm lazy because for that kid is you stuff, but like
I feel like I'm lazy too.
But I have this like weird fear, which is I'm trying to like get over of just like, it's so easy. It's easier for me to put off stuff for myself in a creative sense than it is to like, I'm so good at making creative things for other people. That's why I like having that kid as you, because whenever I come up with ideas for it or like we write together, it feels like, oh, I'm doing this thing for that, you know, as opposed to for me. I'm still working on that.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to like trick my brain.
There's like a separate entity that you're almost working for. Like we both work for that kid as you, or at least in your head, you can.
Yeah, it helps me. It helps me be creative in that sense.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then I can like tap into the source easier. If it's this weird like I'm trying. I've been working on a lot of things, but that's one of the things I've been working on the most is trying to get past the. It's like kind of self-sabotagey and also kind of like this odd fear of success that shouldn't exist. Cause for the most part, I mean, I always forget that I'm like fairly successful, I guess. Like I'll talk to friends and they're like, oh dude, you're always like, one of my friends called me out of nowhere and was like, yeah, you're always doing big things. I'm just like, am I?
Yeah.
Me?
Did I?
am?
Since when?
Did I?
Because last time I checked, I haven't done shit.
Yeah. I was like, these are medium things.
Right. Like I've accomplished this much of my goals. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's how I feel too.
No, true. But to anyone else, like it helped actually in a perspective sense. Like you are doing big things. Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even us doing this is more than what most people do, you know?
Correct.
So and I go through waves with that.
Yeah.
And also for the past 2 weeks, I've just been kind of taking it easy over the past week or so, just cause, you know, the impermanence thing.
Resting.
So yeah, it's interesting. Should we dive into that now?
Yeah, we might as well. So,
What?
well, I almost died in
my
Peru
gosh.
one time. Have I told you about that before? But
You didn't know?
No.
I think you had that.
I think
on
he
your
mentioned it.
dating
It's funny. Every
profile.
time I would bring that up, Silas would be like, "You fell off a roof?" Like, but like I'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, But anyway, when we were in Peru after we filmed Ultimate Expedition, I fell off a roof like the night before we were supposed to fly home or something, and I don't remember doing that. I woke up the next day on the ground, and I had fallen into this like little construction area that you couldn't see from the road. So
We'll show the pictures. Can I cue clips? Can I just cue stuff?
I mean, we can. I try not to put too much like effort into the edit
sure.
because
Yeah,
like otherwise it becomes less
Done doing it.
sustainable.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So
You can
and
look it
eventually I'll do like a full documentary on this whole thing, kind of
For
like
sure.
really go in depth.
Yeah.
But in any case, so nobody knew I fell. I sort of Irish goodbye from where we were, and everyone just assumed like, oh, Paul must have dipped. You know, he must have just left. And then you woke up the next day, and then so what you went through that day to eventually find me, which eventually they did find me later in the afternoon.
You have no idea what
right?
happened.
What exactly you went through that day? You've never told me.
Yeah, because you're holding it for like the doc.
Right, because I was like, we're gonna make a documentary. Like, I think it'd be better if tell me in the interview, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like now is as good a time as any. Like,
It made me nervous, like thinking about that. I was like telling my cute Lyft driver here. I was like, oh man, I have to tell him a story that I never even like thought about. It's funny. I also hit up Eebs. She didn't answer. She actually has like she got like 5 wisdom teeth taken out, so she can't like talk right now.
wow.
But I actually hit her up too because I just want to talk to her just to make sure I'm like not missing anything. Because one thing that my ex Ella, she's the best, but one thing that she did do was like had me like record my story the first time I did it. So like
Right.
also listened to it. It was like making sure I was like, okay,
Oh,
I have
nice.
like the pieces.
oh, amazing.
Yeah, so I know.
Yeah, that was a good call, Ella.
Yeah, because you forget,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, doctors like telephone. It's crazy. Okay, so do you want to hear it?
I would love to. The floor is yours.
Oh my god. Okay, so we go to an after party, and like you're there. You're at the after party, and I remember me and me and Babu and Jasmeet, because Jasmeet Babu wanted like DJ, so we walked behind the club area to get the DJ thing. That was the last time I saw you. I remember seeing you on the dance floor, and I was like, oh, there he is. And then we just like partied and danced for the rest of the night. I think I was there for like maybe 3 more hours, and then I remember getting out of the club, and this is the interesting part to me. I got out of the club and I was like on one. So I called my girlfriend at the time, Ella, and I was just having the fun. I was like in like giggly mode. I was having the funnest conversation with her outside of the like bar area. I walk a little bit down and I'm literally talking to her. Unbeknownst to me, your body is like
20 feet away.
20 feet away, just
Yeah.
lifelessly. And I'm just and I talked there for like 25 minutes. Like I remember being like, oh my God, I'm so loud in the middle of Peru. And then I go back to the hostel, and I get in the hostel and I'm still talking to Ella, and I was like, oh shit, Paul's not here. I remember like telling her, like,
We
oh,
were
yeah.
roommates.
I'm like, oh, Paul's not here. And then also just for context, we were like, I was lead digital editor, you were lead producer or digital producer. So we're kind of like bosses in a sense, and we had to like talk, deal with shit in the morning. And you are not the kind of person to like not show up no matter what. Like, I just know that about you. Like we can have all the fun we want, but like, even if you're like hungover, you're going to be there. So I remember, being like, it was like 5 a.m. or something like that. I'm like the light, like the sun's coming up and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep because like Paul's gonna show up and like think I'm an asshole because I'm still like up, And I went to sleep. I remember having that conscious thought. I remember I went to sleep, woke up, and it's like 3 hours later. It's like 9 or something, and I go into like where the edit bay where everyone's editing and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, because you weren't there. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, is Paul like around, whatever? And they're like, no, we haven't seen Paul. And I was like, And that was like the first hit. Like the feeling of intuition, like the intuition just hit me. I was just like, oh, this is scary. And I remember looking
it's
at
that moment. It's like, it's not like him. You're just like, well, that doesn't.
Yeah,
add
but
up.
Something's not right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't want to put everyone else in a panic because I'm sort of like a somewhat authority figure. So I don't want to be like, oh my God, guys. So I was just like, okay. And I remember having this feeling of like, why is no one else freaking out? But I was like, oh yeah, they don't know him. So like, whatever. So I remember like going back to the room and just sitting there for a second. And then I was like, okay, you and Eebs hung out a lot. So I was like, okay, maybe he's hanging out with Eebs. So I remember like going downstairs, and I remember going down the stairs and being like, okay, I'm gonna like, I was going to where Eebs is staying. So I was like, okay, if he's not hanging out with Eebs getting coffee or like drinking tea or something, then like, I'm gonna freak out. And I remember like looking down, like thinking about this. When I get to the street, I look up, and like a movie, Eebs is there and she looks up at the same exact time. And we both knew at that moment that like, oh, because I had a worried face and she had a worried face, and she's like, "You're not with Paul," and I'm like, "You're not with Paul." Then she ran over and she's like, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "I'm calling Yuka right now." And yeah, I didn't even like waste time in the whole like freaking the fuck out and like asking more people. It's like, no, I knew something was off. And then like I started getting like panicky, and she's like trying to calm me down, and I'm trying to calm her down. And I call Yuka. I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what to say. Sound the alarm. Like fucking just tell all of production that like they should be looking for Paul." And Yuka's just like, "Rah," like just waking up. He's like, well, yeah, you know what? Just like, what do you mean? And I'm like, "Oh, well, Paul's not at work, whatever." He's like, he probably just like hung out with some girl last night or something. And I'm like, "No, he's not hanging out with some girl. Like, trust me. Like, please hit up production." So, what was his name?
Call him Brian, because I'll
Brian.
bleep.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So yeah, Brian. Brian hits me up on the what's it called, the walkie-talkie, and he hears like the trembling in my voice, and he like freaks out too, and he's like, "Okay, I'm on it. Sorry." Like yeah, I'm So it starts like I just start moving, and then me and Eebs are like, "Where's the first police station? Like, where's the police station?" So we like walk directly to the police station. Eebs speaks way better Spanish than me. I'm like in mid panic attack mode. It was like the best way to equate like because I've thought about this feeling like you ever been. This sounds funny, but like you ever been grounded when you were younger? And then you wake up in the morning and like there's that brief moment of relief where you're like, I'm not grounded. And then you remember.
Or like you had a big fight with your girlfriend the night before, and then you wake up and there's a moment where you don't remember you're in a fight, but then
then you remember.
"Oh no, things are bad."
It's that feeling, but like constantly. That's what I was feeling. So I'm like, oh my God, what if I never see my friend again? That's fucking weird. And she goes in, she's talking to the police and stuff like that. And there's no gringos that were taken in last night. I showed them a picture. They're like, "Oh, we'd obviously know who this guy is. Like, he's not here." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's the next step? Whatever. Hospital. Let's go to the hospital. Maybe like something happened. He like fucking he's probably at the hospital, you know?" So we run all the way to the hospital at the end of town. We go in there, and now I'm getting like, I love Eebs because she's kind of like aggressive. She's like an aggressive mom. So she's just like, they're like, "Hey, you can't come in here." And we're like, "Where's the people that came in last night? Like, where do they keep them?" And then like,
Let me at them.
Yeah. Then we go up there, and in the midst of all this, like I'm getting walkie-talkied by different people. Yuka's calling me like, "Hey, are you like super sure?" Because like everyone's like in like freaking out mode right now. And I'm like, "Look, even if I'm wrong, I don't give a shit. Keep them in freak out mode." So then we get to this one area where they're keeping people and stuff, and this nurse is giving us names and shit of like who were all the people that came in the night before. And we're like, "No, none of these people, none of these people." We show them pictures, nothing. We're like finding everyone just with like this is funny pre-COVID, but anyone with a mask, we're just like, hey. And then all of a sudden this dude walks in, this like Peruvian guy, and he's one of the like remember the guy, the actual Peruvian climber guys who like the company?
Yeah,
one of those dudes came up.
Mountain guides.
Yeah, one of the mountain guys, and like we'd been partying with him the night before, and he like walks in, he's like, "Hey, heard you were here." It's like, you guys got ears everywhere. He's like, "Hey, heard you were here. Come with me." And we're like, "Yeah, where are we going?" And we jump in his little like Hyundai, and we fucking drive to. He's like, what's it called? I know one of the pimps in town because also there's a bunch of like ladies of the night at the party the night before, and Yuka's just like, "Oh, he might be with like a hooker dude. Like, check it out, you know."
Right. Yuka was probably like maybe thought I was with a hooker, and like, let's not embarrass the poor guy. Let's not put like, I bet he's just like doing some shit.
Well, I think it's important in situations like this. I mean, it's easy to let your imagination run away from you, and it is good to stay calm and to not imagine the worst case scenario. Right. To an extent.
Sure.
But
which is normally my instinct too. I probably would have reacted similar to Yuka, being like, like, I'm sure he's fine.
I know,
at least at first,
you know,
like,
for sure.
I mean, he didn't
like, I wouldn't just let my friend, die, obviously. Yeah. But like, I'm grateful for your quick sense of urgency, because that quick sense of urgency, I sort of fight because I tell myself like, stay calm, like it's probably nothing. Like that's kind of how I would approach something like this initially.
Yeah.
I know we're similar in that way. And it just, I think you could, his spider sense like didn't go off in the same way that yours did. And so it's important. There's obviously a difference between like noticing your gut. It's speaking to you for a reason. Like not ignoring it was the best.
And also
thing
everybody knows
done.
like I love prostitutes, No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so
9 out of 10 nights he would have been with the lady of the night from the party.
Exactly.
I mean, they were pretty. Like I was like, I mean, most like
sure.
maybe why not?
Maybe.
You know.
I've been with uglier prostitutes. That's for sure. I'm just kidding. I've never been with a prostitute. I can
either.
honestly admit that. Great.
Cool.
Okay, so anyway, homeboy says, "I know a pimp."
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He's like, I know a pimp. Some of the girls in town, they'll like straight up drug dudes and steal their shit. And like, I know the guy who like is kind of like
Runs
got the
that.
sketchy
Oh,
girls,
man.
you know. So let's go over to him.
The Bad Girls Club.
Yeah,
Straight up,
the Cardi
yeah.
B's, you know.
Yeah, straight up.
Shit.
So we drive to the other side of town. Is like this is the side of town that's on the way to like the mountain, you know.
Okay.
So go to that side of town. We stop and get out of the car, or he gets out of the car and he's like, I'm gonna go ask and like talk to him, whatever the fuck. He gets back in the car and he's like, man, dude, he hasn't like none of his girls have seen any gringos. Like they were not messing with gringos last night. So like. I don't know what to tell you, and these are pretty much most like he like they would know. They all talk like
If anything shady happened, they
his
would
network, his whole work knows, you know, of,
Mm-hmm.
like what's going on. That was mean to say, but they know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely fine with sex work. Anyway, so then all of a sudden, this other dude, one of the other like mountain climber dudes, comes. He's like, "Hey, get out of the car, come in." And he's like, "All right, cool." We get into another car, and he's like, "This is my brother. He's the chief of police." Like, we're going to the other police station, like the main police station. I'm like, we were just at the police station? He's like, no, that wasn't the police station. This is the real
Going
one.
to the good one.
Yeah, and like, you know, like the center of town, like where the center was, where they had like the llamas, you could like pet the llamas and shit.
Yeah.
So like right there, there's like this huge like municipality. It's like huge, and you like go in. I don't know if that's the right word for it. I'm like thinking too much, but like I go in and like, bruh. When you see a movie and they're like, oh, zoom in on that person or like find the video footage, it was like CID type shit. It was like, what's it called? NYPD Blue or something. We go in and there's this huge, I have pictures of it. There's this huge, like, it's like all these people on computers. There's this huge screen made up of screens as like just a whole wall. And they're like, what time did this happen? And I'm like, okay, like we're at this club at this place or whatever, and I'm watching them like go through all the streets, and then they find the one camera that's on the street. And they're like, okay, cool. And then they like rewind it. It's nighttime, and it shows all of us walking down. Like, what? Our friend Des got her car stolen in LA. They couldn't do shit, and like fucking
Right.
Juarez, Peru, in the middle of nowhere by the mountain. They got this kind of technology.
Rewinding
Right.
time. They're just
Not a wealthy community per se.
No,
You know,
all the
this isn't
roofs are
like-
half done. This
Right.
plays into you falling off. Like
Right.
that is crazy to me that technology like existed there. I'm just like, what? Like what the fuck? It's
So
like
you guys are sitting in there. They're pulling up. You know, they
yeah.
found the club. If there's a camera, there was like a street camera that
it
pointed
was a
at the
street
door
camera. It was
of
a
the
huge
club.
wide shot, and I'm like, that's the place. And they're like, okay, zoom in. And they fucking zoom in.
Wow.
HD as fuck. It's like 6K. Like zoom in.
Wow.
Like it did not degrade in footage as they zoom in, and they have it on the door. And they're like, all right, cool. Let's see who comes in and comes out. And they're just kind of like fast forwarding it and stuff. And me and Eebs are like freaking the fuck out. And I remember Eebs kept being like, I need to take a smoke break. And she'd like go outside and take a smoke break. And then she'd come back in. And then she's just like, because Eebs is super. Oh, here's the thing about Eebs. She's like, she's into Reiki and stuff like that. Interesting thing about Eebs is Eebs, when she was like 23 or 24, she got into a accident on a jet ski and was what's it called, paralyzed from the waist down. I only know her story's not bullshit because she was on one of the first Real Worlds or Road Rules, so it was like news when it happened. And her parents are like Reiki masters. And her mom's like, no, my daughter's gonna walk, and brings in a Reiki master for a full month straight to just work on her. They're like, we're not going into surgery, we're not doing any of that shit. Just the Reiki master's coming in. Within 3 months, she's walking. She's now
incredible.
a walking human being. She walks. So and that's like, but when she introduces herself, she's like, oh yeah, I'm really into like all that juju, you know, I don't know if you are, but like, that's like how she introduces herself. And she was kind of like she's like my rock the whole time. She's like keeping me super calm. And I know she's freaking out, so I'm trying to keep her calm. But I remember at one point she's like, this is going to sound really crazy, but like, close your eyes and think about him. Like, what do you see? You know? And I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. I don't like, I see the back of my eyelids. I don't know what the fuck like, what do you want me to do? Like, Eebs. And she's like, okay, well, he's at that place. He's at that club. And I'm like, what? Like the place, because, okay, so at this point, like through the walkie-talkies and stuff, we know that a team of people, like it was like Nick and a couple other people, had went to the club that we were at, and talked to the owner, and the owner didn't want anything to do with it because he's like liability and all that shit. And they did a whole run through of the club and like did not find where like Paul was.
Oh.
So they did a run through, and we were aware of this. And Eebs was like pissed because she's like, no, they need to check again. And I can't remember this part. This is a thing that I want to talk to Eebs about. But I can't remember if they checked again because I feel like they checked twice, but I do know for a fact that they checked once, and they like. Because they're at that point in time when we're in there freaking out watching the fucking NYPD blue screen, we were like, oh, he's not there. Because everyone's like, yep, check that place off. He's not there. And like, call me fucking crazy, but I remember closing my eyes and like just sitting and like taking a breath. And all I saw, I was like, okay, I'm seeing something. I'm not even going to think. I'm just going to use my intuition. What's the first thing that I see? I saw dirt. Like dirt and rocks. It was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, that's stupid. We're in fucking by the mountain. We're in Juarez, Peru. Of course I see dirt and rocks. Whatever. Well, fuck it. Whatever. This is a stupid exercise. Eebs comes running back in and she's like, I'm going back. And she like has like the wrath of God in her eyes. She's like, I don't believe them. I'm going back. Call them. Tell them to meet me there. I'm going back. So she goes back. And we're at this point, we're like maybe 3 blocks away from where that club was, whatever. So she runs back to the club. And I'm sitting there watching the footage, and I remember I forgot his name. Iko is one of the Finns. But one of the Finns, like, you see a dude who's like a white dude who was kind of wearing similar things to you, like a sweater, and he like is on the second floor of like where the club is, and he's outside. He goes outside to smoke a cigarette. That's what he did. He smoked a cigarette, and he gets locked out, and then he like climbs up in like the side little area, and then like gets in. And we're like, oh my God, that was him. So then we're all like...
Thought that was me.
We thought it was you. So then we're like zooming the camera out, like maybe he's getting to the roof somehow. Like, what's going to happen, you know? And we never see that person.
I think it was Artie? Anyway,
something like that. Yeah. He's the
cool
guy.
It matters, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he was so cool.
Yeah.
But he never comes out.
That's why they were calling me Spider-Man. Because they thought I was the one climbing the wall. And that stuck, actually. Like, later... People gave me Spider-Man gifts. Like Tato gave me a stuffed Spider-Man.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like
it's down there.
It's down there. Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, the Spider-Man thing stuck. But it was all because of
Auntie. It was
Auntie climbed. It was Auntie is the real Spider-Man. I'm just an imposter.
Yeah, but he got in, and then they're like, so we assumed it was you. So we're like watching the footage and like slower now, not fast forwarding, and we're just waiting. They're like, okay, this hour will pass in like 20 minutes. Let's just watch and see who else comes out. We see a few other people come out, but they're obviously not you. And then we get to a point where we're like, wow, he didn't come out. Like he's in there. Like he's got to be in there. So at this point, I'm like, well, that's perfect because Eebs just went back there. So like. That's great. That's great news. Then all of a sudden, like their walkies go off like in Spanish and shit. And it's like a multiple of them. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then it's a live feed now of exactly the same spot that I was just looking at. It was nighttime. It's all of a sudden it's daytime. It's a wide shot. And they're like, then they're like on the phone and like, cause they have like little earpieces and shit. It's like, it's crazy the technology that they like had. And they're like, it's like erratically moving, and then it zooms into the roof of where like you had fallen, and it's I feel so bad I forget his name. DIT.
Alan.
It was Alan, and Alan's looking down, and they're just pointing and screaming. They're like, they look like it's a very close up, very HD them, and he's pointing down doing this, and everyone's screaming, and Nick's like, and I was just like. I didn't even think. I didn't want to like know, so I just ran. I like ran out of the police station with like the worst gut-wrenching feeling I've ever had in my life. And I run down. I'm like gonna get teared up. I run down and I fucking sprint down those 3 blocks, and I see an ambulance outside already, and I see Eebs. Oh no, I don't see Eebs. I see Brian, and he's outside, and he's like walking in. So I saw him. I'm like, okay, our people are there. I see a bunch of cops. I also see like a crowd. There's like a crowd of like Peruvians just like gathered around, like trying to see what's in. And I run in, and I remember one of the cops being like, "Oh no puede entrar." And I was like in Spanish, like, "Ese es mi amigo." And they're like, "Okay." And I run in, and dude, like a samurai movie, it felt like I see Eebs bent over you, and you're just on the ground in the midst of this rubble, and no one's near you. Like they're all like. They're like, I remember hearing the cops talking. They're like, they're scared you had like spinal injury, so they don't want to like mess with you. But
good, that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly, but they wanted to make sure like you're talking. That's why they let Eebs, because she's like, I know him, and So I remember like seeing that and just being like, oh, okay, cool. He's okay. Like your like response, I saw you like talking, your eyes were open. I'm like, that's like good news. And then I turn around to Brian and Brian's like, he's okay. Like he said it in a broken voice, and he's such a like bear of a man.
He's a brute.
Dude, and he like his voice like broke me, and I just started crying, and he like just hugs me and like holds me, and it was like the most comforting hug I've ever felt in my life. And then that hug lasted longer than I thought, because then I like look up and like you're in a stretcher and they pull you into like the, you know, the ambulance or whatever. And I was about to like walk over to you, and then I see, and Yuka pops up in like a in, you know, in his like fucking big ass hat and his Vivian Westwood hat and like a huge black poncho, and he's like, come with me, we're getting in this car or whatever. And he's very like very calmish. And I get in the car with him, and he's like, we're going to the hospital, like he's gonna be okay. And I was like crying, and he was like trying to comfort me, but I could also tell he's very like in leader mode, because like
Sure.
because I remember like for a brief second being like having a feeling of, because I was just so in my emotions. I remember being like mad at him for not having emotion, but I'm like, oh no, he's like, he's dealing with way more right now than just
well, and
like,
he's dealt with
the
grave
Dudesons,
injury a
1,000%.
lot, and had to like, you know,
Beat
like
chill,
I think of that video where HP jumped a motorcycle and broke his ankle. And like Yuka's just there, like, you know, so Yuka's been dealing with like people in traumatic
sure.
like situations like that for a long time.
Oh, 1,000%.
I just want to express that I don't fault Yuka for his calmness or his like, or this demeanor that you're referring
No,
to.
of course, that's what I was getting to. His it was like his experience, which I did not understand at the time because I did
Right.
not have experience in it. Yeah, it was his experience showing.
Yeah. Love you, Yuka.
Yeah, Yuka's great. So then we get there, and he's just like, okay, well, I gotta like talk to people in Finland and stuff. So like go in there and like make sure he's okay, because you speak Spanish and stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I go in there with Eebs, because we both speak Spanish, and we're like talking to the doctors and stuff. And they're like, it's not looking good. That's like, they weren't even like sugarcoating it. They weren't even like, they would not give us a straight answer, which was scarier. There's like, nah, yeah, we're not sure. And they wouldn't let me see you. They wouldn't let Eebs and I see you. So then me and Eebs go outside, and I remember being like, okay, so what do we do now? And she's like, you know Paul's like full name, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna call my mom. So she calls her mom, and she puts her on speakerphone. She's talking to her in Spanish and stuff. And her mom is actually on the way to a Reiki retreat in Miami with a bunch of Reiki masters, like hundreds of Reiki masters. And her mom hears the story very quickly. Like Eebs is like telling her, Eebs is very calm at this point, is telling her the story. And her mom like very confidently is like, okay, give me his name. Tell me the location of where you guys are right now. And we will be praying for him tonight. And there's gonna be a lot of people praying for him. So this is gonna be very good for him. And I was like, all right, cool. So she like tells me that, and she's like, also tell me things about him too. And I like told her some stuff about you and stuff. And she's like, okay, that's all I need. This is good. So Eebs is like, I'm staying with him. Like, I don't know. I don't care what happens. I don't care like what production says. I'll pay out of pocket. I'm staying with him, like no matter what. And I remember being like, well, I could stay too. Like I should stay. And then I went in and I talked to you. They like let me in to talk to you.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. And you were like, you know, conscious. And I was like, hey, how do you feel? Like, are you okay? And I didn't want to like be all teary-eyed and like being like a pussy about it. So I was just like, gathered my shit and I walked in, and you're just like, well, there's a catheter in my dick right now. And that's when I knew that's like, that I've never felt a wash of relief. It was like a waterfall of relief. I was like, he's okay. Like, he's
Just that
fine.
there was like some humor in my response or something like that.
Yeah, that was all I needed, really. And maybe so because I just know how I would be in that situation. So that was like my like anti-mirror in a sense. I learned a lot from that situation from you, because even talking to you post that situation happening, you not even thinking about dying and just waiting for people to come get you, like just that like that hopeless positivity that like made me realize
He's crazy for it, right? Like it's amazing.
I have a theory about this. We can get into this later. But yeah, that changed my like a very large paradigm shift in my brain happened of the way I think about things after that day. So yeah, it was your reborn day, and it was kind of mine too in a thought pattern sense, which is it was a terrifying situation, but like in a sense I'm like I'm kind of glad it happened, I guess, because I learned something, and
I'm glad
I
it
feel like
happened.
you learned something too.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
But then, but also this is more for an Eebs story too. But like, I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna say like what I remember her
Sure.
telling me. She's gonna tell it like way
We'll
better.
get Eebs on here eventually.
Oh my God, you
I hope
have to.
she'd be
Yeah,
down
yeah.
to.
But Eebs' story, when she got there, from what I remember, when she got there, she like would not take no for an answer from the owner guy, and like was looking around everywhere. And she said that like in the back, because the theory is that because when I went looking for that DJ booth with Jasmine and Babu, you had to go to the kitchen, and the kitchen is kind of like big, and there's other doors. So Eebs went through one of those doors, which leads upstairs to like apartments. There's like whole like apartment areas up above that.
Right.
And she went up and started banging on everyone's door, which they did not do. The team did not do. They didn't even get to that point. So she was banging on everyone's door. And then I'm probably butchering this, but like I 1,000% remember her being like, yeah, then there's this weird door / closet, and I opened it, and there's like a kid living in there. And the kid's just like, there's another like stair set this way, like if you want to get to the roof. And like she's like, there's more, and the kid's like, yeah, it's this way. This is where I stay. But, like,
Follow me.
Yeah, like he was like hiding, like he wasn't supposed to be there, but he lived there.
Right. She did tell me something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and then that's how she got to the roof with Alan and all them, and that's whenever I saw them. So talk about intuition, dude. Eebs, like Eebs
wow.
ruthlessly followed her intuition because.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've said this before, and I will say it again, but I'll say it now also. Like, you saved my life that day. I'm so grateful I have you as a friend. I really mean that.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm crying right now. But like, for real, I don't know. I don't know what I did to deserve a friend as good as you. Like the you know, I don't know if I'd be sitting here if not for you and Eebs. And I'm serious. Like, I just thank you. I love you. I really do.
Thank you so much, dude.
Like,
do that
I
to
loved
me
you
ever
before
again.
that, and like I love you after that, and like I don't know. You mean a lot to me.
Same, man.
If you saved my life or not, you'd mean a lot to me.
No,
but
same,
like
same.
it's this extra thing, you know.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, if I ever fall off a
And,
building,
like-
please follow your intuition. Like,
I'll be there, dude. I'll be there. And you know what's so crazy too? You know they talk like when lovers separate, like look at the moon, and I'll look at the moon, and we'll both be looking at the moon. Like you're looking at Alan. I was looking at Alan that same moment.
oh wow, that's so
Because
crazy.
I was laying down on the ground and I just see Alan peek over and I was like, and it's like, I see him, I found him. So like while you're looking at Alan, like I was looking up at Alan.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
crazy. And then other producer chick, I feel bad for her because when she looked down, because you had a sigh of relief,
So
you closed your eyes.
Heather, yeah. So I look up, I see Alan. He's like, I found him. And then I'm like, oh, thank God. And I just do this, you know, close my eyes. And then Heather, she peeks over and just sees this. And she said her whole walk down those 4 flights of stairs or whatever till she got to the bottom and saw me, she thought, he's dead. And I'm going to have to call this kid's family. Like, you know, like she was like, he's dead.
Yeah.
I just saw the dead body. Now I'm going to walk down and go see the dead body closer. You know,
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry that I traumatized everybody.
Oh no, it's
You know, it's like there's an odd source of shame there or like embarrassment.
no, you're
know,
fine. I feel like
uh,
I've gone through so much like child trauma that like the trauma like it as an adult's like not as bad. It's just like,
good,
like oh.
good.
I'm just like kind of
Water under
Like,
the bridge.
I mean,
Yeah,
but
it's
for
like,
me,
what is
like
this?
I am grateful for it because like you said with your going to the hospital for your heart, like it gave me such, you know, I mean, what it's like a perspective you can only get by almost dying, you
Yeah,
know, or
for sure.
thinking, you know, and it's
Seriously.
like
I'm not in that club yet. I'm still like
Exactly, and it's like in some ways
involved. You know, I'm still
well, in some ways I don't wish that
that
upon
way.
anyone, but on the same point, like I wish everyone could at least think for a second they're gonna die, you know, and not. Because
It's
like
like it's a great reset.
lot. It's an incredible reset. I mean, yeah, I was laying on the ground thinking like I never told Christine how I feel about her. Like that was a thought I had. And
Yeah.
like, oh, like what would people say at your funeral? Like Paul was nice. But they wouldn't be like, there's no album to point to. There's no like he wrote this movie. This is his music. I hadn't released any music,
yeah.
you know? That was like August. By that Thanksgiving, I released Be Strong in the Abyss, like my little project, which you're on one of the songs, you know?
Yeah.
And then I came back to LA and we formed That Kid Is You. And like, I don't know. So like, I wasn't laying there regretting anything.
No, for
but
sure.
I was also thinking like, bro, like,
You know, it's funny.
come on, let's do this. You know?
Now that I'm thinking about it, it was kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that happened right after that, just changed our lives by so much. Because then after that, I remember I wanted to quit because I remember like, and I remember you whenever we were the Dudesons, I was like, oh, we should quit, and you were like the first one to be like, yeah,
I had
let's
quit.
do it.
I quit before I fell.
Oh, that's true, you had to quit,
Yeah,
but you were kind of back.
I was kind of back. I was brought back to, well, I still had Ultimate Expedition to see through because once the show came out, like that's when our YouTube content that we were creating was going to roll out.
Yeah.
And so I had to be on for part of that. And then I sort of came on, you invited me back to work at the office. And
Yeah, I remember that.
I said, yeah.
Well, anyway, that helped me like want to quit because I remember being like, because I had so like as soon as that happened, I had so many like the person that I was at that point in time after like that happened, like I like in a span of like maybe a month, I killed that person because broke up with Ella. We quit our jobs. I was just flew into the darkness, not knowing anything of what was going to happen. It was a scary.
Love the way you describe that. I've never thought of that. Like I killed that version of myself.
You
I
have
killed
to
it.
destroy yourself
Killed it.
to rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I mean, just think about the way things work. Like you can change and add on, but the best way to clean the garage is take everything out and then
you can see better,
organizedly put things back and get rid of what you don't need. Versus like you could just stand in there and kind of, I'll just move this here. But like, you know, the best way to really do it is destroy it and rebuild it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to destroy yourself.
And I had like gained weight. I had like gained relationship weight because whenever you're like, you know, hooking up with someone that's willing to hook up with you, you don't think about your weight. So I was like, I weighed more. I was like, man, I gotta like change everything. So I like changed the way I ate, started working out more, really worked on my head. I didn't like talk to a therapist or anything. I kind of like used you guys as my therapy for the most part.
That's what friends are
But
for.
the biggest thing that I did though was move to Mexico.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that was like that. That was a thing that I like had needed because one thing that I learned about trying to change around people who know you is that they only know the books that they're aware of. So it was really hard for me to change whenever I was living with you guys because you knew
That makes
the
sense.
stories of me already when I was trying to change them. And it was really hard to because I would try to do things and it's not any of y'all's faults. It's just the person who you knew already. And I remember being like, I remember going because I got an opportunity to go into Mexico in the midst of the pandemic. I was like, yeah, fucking why not? I was terrified, but I did it. And it was crazy because it was like the house that I was staying in, this one girl, my best friend Janelyn introduced me to this girl, and she like, it was kind of like a situation that we'd been in before where like you have this person with money and they're like paying for, you know, the house and stuff and like, oh, we're going to get a bunch of people to create things together and stuff. And I never agreed to any of it, but I was there and like, I'm down to help and see it, whatever. But it was interesting because all these lessons that I thought that I learned by myself when we lived in Encino, when I was like living in, or like just being by myself and thinking, all these lessons, all of a sudden I had, the universe gave me other lessons of like, did you learn this? Like now deal with these people again. You're in a kind of situation again. Like who are you, whatever. And it was really interesting because I remember having a conversation with one of the girls. Because first of all, it was like a house full of very beautiful women. And like, I had this like a kind of insecurity about myself that I'd grown in LA of like, I'm not the best. I'm not like the best person or whatever. Like maybe people don't like me. It also came from just like toxicity in a relationship and stuff like that. We're good now. She's the best. But like at the point in time we weren't. And anyway, I remember having this like realization of like, oh man, I am changing. Cause this one girl came up to me and she's like, hey, well, no, actually, I remember I was eating breakfast and like 3 of the girls came up and they're like, hey, do you want to like all separately ask me if I wanted to hang out? And I was like, oh, I said such and such that I would hang out with them. I said to this girl I'd hang out with them at this time. I was like, sorry. And I'm like, oh, man, I never get time with you. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, you're like the rock of this place. Like you just keep everyone calm and you just, I don't know, you're just so cool. And I was just like, the person I've wanted to be. It was like a validity of like, oh wow, I can change who I am. And the work that I'm putting into myself is like showing, and it helped. And I remember like coming back here when I'd visit and stuff like that. And like Des would tell me when we'd like be hanging out sometimes like, oh, you have like a different pep to your step. Or you told me that
You
once
for sure
too.
do.
Especially when you guys came to visit. Like,
This
I
is
was
the
like, we hung out with
happiest I've seen you.
Sayulita JC. Like
Yeah.
this guy,
Yes.
he gets you rides from the airport. Like he figures it out. Like I don't know, but even actually,
just
while I'm hearing you
happiness.
say that, I'm thinking like, when was JC not cool? You know, like
thanks.
the entire time I've known you, you have been a center point of a cool group of people that create shit. You were that when I met you. You were that when we all moved to LA.
Yeah.
You know, like we all grow and we all have our ups and downs and whatever, but like it's all to me it's like you had it in you all along, you know, like when were you not cool?
I
you
wouldn't
know?
say there was ever a time since I've known you, which is what almost
Thanks.
2 years now, that I would say you're not like uncool, and that I wouldn't say it like that, but I definitely think there is a noticeable difference between how
that's
you
true.
carry
I do
yourself
notice the difference.
now. It's I think you're energized by being there, it seems, and it just seems like, I don't know, you're more excited about things than you were before. I think that's the kind of the thing I noticed.
You're hot as shit.
You
Muscle
you
boy.
glowed up.
Trying to get hotter. Gotta get hot girl summer, right? I gotta. I was
but
hotter
there's-
last summer. But
You know,
yeah,
there's
we'll not talk
something
about it.
nice about.
No, but you're plenty hot. You're plenty hot.
Thanks.
There's always room to get hotter,
That's true.
but you're hot, and there's always room to get cooler. But yeah, I mean,
I guess
from my experience with you, you've always been.
Thank you for saying
cool.
that. I don't know. I had like a weird thing where I was like telling myself the same story over and over again for no
We
reason.
like to do that. I know,
Yeah.
and there's always those moments where it finally catches up to you that how you see yourself isn't necessarily the same way that somebody else sees you.
Oh,
and it sounds like
1000%.
that's what that moment was for you. It was like,
Yeah.
what?
Right.
I'm the composed rock. I'm not the
For
rock.
sure.
I'm a mess. Like I
Yeah.
was just writing the emo fucking song in my bedroom 5 minutes ago. You should have heard what I said.
No, 1000%. Like, whenever-
you know, so it's
Definitely.
just that moment.
So when Paul was on the ground, and you told me that was because it was like maybe a little bit afterwards. Whenever you got back and you're fine, you had told me that like because I asked him what he was thinking. I was like, "What do you think? Did you think you're gonna die?" And you're like, "No, I was just waiting for people to show up." And I remember being like, "If it was me, I would have been thinking." Fuck, when is the Reaper coming? Am I gonna see him? Like, you know what I mean? I was such an anxious person and not only an anxious person, but like I allowed myself in those waves too long. Like everything comes in waves, right? But I would bask in them way too long for some reason. And
It can be a creative place. I understand why I understand.
It can be. It can be.
But at a
it's
point, it
like
gets
that for me.
comfortable.
it's
and
also
almost
destructive if you're in
complacent.
it too long.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
It's
So
like it's a vice, but it's also a strength at the same
for
time.
sure. And I think it's all about self-awareness, right? So like it's I forgot where I saw this, but the intelligence is just the ability to notice patterns. Like Albert Einstein noticed E equals MC squared because he noticed a bunch of patterns that other people didn't. That's basically what intelligence is, just noticing a series of patterns or being good at noticing patterns.
Sure.
So yeah, I was unaware of that pattern that I had, and that made me very self-aware of the pattern. And I feel like that's half the battle when trying to. And it was interesting too because we were also in a situation too where our roommates were like really trying to better themselves, especially during quarantine and stuff, because they're like, oh yeah, well, what better time than now
Yeah. Definitely.
to do like self-help and like break through traumas and stuff like that. And I remember being like, I'm perfect. I don't have traumas. But then I'd think about like, I don't know, in a toxic relationship, or I don't like using the word toxic because it implies that the whole thing was bad, but like
Sure.
in bad instances in a relationship, I remember being like, why did I act like that? What made me work, do that? So it was kind of like, show your work, right? So I'd have to like go back up the work to see
Interesting
of
how
the-
you got there.
yeah, of all the problems that have happened before and try and find the root cause of it. And it's also interesting too. It made
To
me,
me, I like the metaphor. For me, it's a ball of yarn. It's like I'm like, okay, this doesn't match. Like this like over or intense reaction doesn't make sense, and then you start to like pull at it, and you're like, what is that actually attached to? Like,
Oh,
why
that's at
is
the
it-
end of
love
that.
that.
What's
Yeah.
at the end of it? Why is this becoming like? Why do I feel unraveled? And you can kind
cool. I've
of
never heard that.
usually
yeah, that's great. I
follow
love
it
that
back
visual.
to something. Yeah,
I'm gonna steal that one. That's super
Yeah, that's
good.
nice.
That's an easy way to explain that. I was trying. It's funny in my Lyft drive. I was trying to explain to her about like traumas and stuff like that. Because you can also hear people like, it's what interesting thing about like working on yourself mentally is that you start seeing because there's this I forget, it's a psychology thing, I forget what it's called specifically, but it's basically, it's like a mirror or something where like I can only see something wrong with you because it exists in me.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can see something bad in you, like a
Projection.
not projection, but it's like I forgot what specifically it's called, but like if I think you're an asshole, it's only because I'm definitely
Right.
an
Or if
asshole.
I'm like, oh, that's so selfish. That's because like deep down, like
I'm
I've been that
selfish.
selfish.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's how I behave.
1,000%. Yeah,
Right,
yeah. And that's where I think where the self-awareness comes in. Like if you're self-aware, then at least half the battle's won because people who are like terrible human beings are not aware at all.
I think that's like the universal thread between terrible humans is that very quality. They're just unaware.
Yeah.
They just allow like unawareness and ignorance and you just miss everything. You know, it's like there's
sure.
a lack of awareness, spatial awareness that just happens.
Yeah, and a lack of like wanting to learn too,
Yeah.
because it's like too much work or something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it's a hard pill to swallow too. That like you're not perfect.
Oh,
and you're
1,000%.
even not that great. You know, none of us are that great. Like it's also a hard pill. Like, don't beat yourself up about it. This is something about Christianity I like. You got this guy Jesus. He's perfect.
Yeah.
Whatever. You try your best to be like Jesus. Be perfect. Be Christ-like. But forgive yourself when you come up short because you will. You're human. You know, and like so like try the best you can. Be as perfect as you can. Make that the goal. Today I'm going to be perfect. But also forgive yourself when you, of course, come up short, you know?
1,000%.
Like, I dig that.
Someone should make a movie about, there's the time period of Jesus' life in the sense of records that we don't know about. It's between like, what is it, like 15 and 27
I
or
think
28
they
or something like that?
talk about his bar mitzvah, maybe when he was 13. No, I don't even know if they do.
But
But
it's
yeah,
like
he's
a
like a
decade-
baby and then he's suddenly an adult. There's a big gap.
Yeah, there's like a what is he, a Pokemon? Yeah, there's like a whole decade where
He
he's
just evolved,
like,
yeah. He goes, "Broop, broop, broop."
he had wine and he's like,
yeah.
It's suddenly
He's like the Santa
making
Claus.
so
He's
much
like
more
Santa
sense to me.
Claus.
Oh man.
But it'd be funny to like make a movie about that. Like,
That's funny.
just,
There
like,
is
that
a
time when he
book
was
about
missing.
it that I've heard about but never read.
Because
But
I
it's
bet during that
supposedly really
time,
funny.
the dude could turn water into wine. He just raged his ass off, made
Right.
so many mistakes, and was just like, oh. Because I feel like the only way,
Yeah, they were like too
Sure,
big
he's
to
like
put
Robert
in
Downey
the
Jr..
narrative. They couldn't fit it in the narrative. They're like, it doesn't work.
yeah.
He's like
yeah.
Bobby Downs Jr.
Bobby Downs Jr. He's Bobby Downs Jr.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is like
he
Bobby
hadn't
Downs
made his
Jr.
comeback yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
He was
but they
still
just
drowning.
they didn't include all of his arrests and his like drug addiction.
Just expunged it.
It's
They're like,
easier
it's
to
not
leave
there.
that out.
We'll let you get
Yeah.
like you're great now. So if you keep this up, we'll kill you. No, I don't know.
But you know what? It's funny because we had this talk the last time I was here, but in Sayulita, there's a very big like spiritual community. There's like a lot of people who are like there seeking spirituality, and some are like really on the path and like doing it well, and some are just like I feel like it's people wearing masks. I don't believe it, you know, and I think that you have to have this in order to become quote unquote spiritually enlightened personally. I feel like you have to go through humanity's worst qualities to like kind of reach that, because if not, what are you working off of in the sense of like perspective of the soul? Or
It's like a no pain, no gain attitude.
yeah, like I don't know. I've one of our really good friends. He's like a terrible alcoholic for the longest time ever, and I've been speaking to him recently, and I'm glad he's doing so well. But like, even some of the things he tells me about, like in my brain, I'm just like, man, like you're a little bit more spiritual than like people I kind of know who've like dedicated their lives to like being spiritual, but just in
Or
like
to like being that person, like wearing that suit. You know, like
the idea of being like a spiritual guru is inherently egotistical. Which does
so.
that not
Yeah.
negate the
It
whole
is very
purpose of
ironic.
trying to
Completely
be spiritual? It's like it's such an interesting thing.
Well, you can still try to be spiritual without feeling the need to prove you're spiritual.
right, but
Yes.
that's
That's
not going to
the-
be a
that's the
person
difference.
wearing beads and like, you know, like
could be a
really
per-
showing it. I guess they
It could be a person
They could,
dressed
they
in
could
any
like beads.
form.
Maybe
Yeah,
just
they
like
could.
beads.
It could
but,
be in any form, but yeah, they won't feel the need to brag about it on the street.
right. Like I wonder, it would almost be like a funny YouTube challenge to like become vegan and meditate every day, but tell nobody for like 6 months. Nobody can know. If anybody even finds out, you lost the challenge.
Oh, it's like Undercover Boss, but it's Undercover Vegan.
Yeah, or something like that. Like, cause like how it's
I like
so
it.
hard to like not sort of like outwardly express your pride for being that person.
Okay,
you know?
that's true. That's true. And and you know what? I'll backtrack a little bit. Well, not even backtrack, but I feel that though, because there is this like when you're into something, right? There's this like inherent worth that you get from that thing, which again goes to the ego. But it reminds me of like me being in like a lift and I'm like trying to like start a conversation. It's like I'm always gonna go to, hey, I make music. Like, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's also like I'm just trying to self promote in some form or fashion.
Sure.
But
But it's like your identity.
kinda like that,
So
yeah.
for some people, their identity is, I'm spiritual. That's who I am. That's how I identify.
Yeah, see, that's weird too, though, because I like if somebody asks me if I'm a rapper, I'm not like I rap, but I'm not like I'm so many things.
What do you identify as? Actually, that's interesting. Like go ahead.
What do I identify as? I think creative is the best because it's like an umbrella. Yeah. I was about to make a bad joke of like a they them, but but no, creative. Like I guess that'd be the easiest way to like explain it. Like I'm a creative. Like
But is
umbrella.
that your best explanation? But is that like, who are you? Because for the longest time, it was like, I rap, I make music, but like, I'm a drummer. That's who I
Yeah,
am.
for
you
sure.
know? And then I said that to Yuko one time, and he was like, that's funny. Like, I'm like a martial artist. He's like, that's what I am.
That's
like,
true.
I
He
do all
would
these
always
other
say that.
things.
Yeah.
But when you say you're a drummer, like, I'm a martial artist or whatever. So like, is there something like that, or creative is that your answer?
I think creative would be my answer because
Nice.
I've gone through it so many times. Because I think I started saying creative now because I would be like, I'm a rapper, but I also do this and this and this and this, and that's like just so wordy, and it's just easy to be like, I'm creative.
Yeah.
I make music and I'm creative. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard. It's like you do that inherently because it feels good to you and because there's a real need to express what you're thinking. But there's also a very real validation that comes in when people respond well to what the outcome is, right? They respond to the product that you've made.
For sure.
And then it creates this positive feedback loop. And so then you're getting validation for something you like to do. So it kind of makes sense that you
Definitely.
would latch onto it.
1,000%.
Definitely.
I'm
It
looking
all-
for
it
that
all feeds the
spiritual sugar
ego.
at all times. Like I just
Yeah.
like, need a hit of that spiritual sugar of just someone
Yeah.
being like, hey, you glad you exist, you know? Like
Right.
Yeah, that feels nice.
yeah.
It does. It definitely does. Well, fucking A. I bet these cameras are going to die soon.
Cool.
We will continue to hang out and talk,
Yeah.
but just
was gonna
before the
say-
cameras die. Do you
I
have
was just
anything
going to say
else?
muchas gracias a sus abuelo.
Hey, muchas gracias también. Muchas gracias por
Good
tenerme. Estoy
Un hombre bueno.
tan feliz que estás vivo.
See?
Y estoy súper feliz que estoy aquí.
Yeah. También. Well, actually, can we talk about your tattoo from the quote?
Oh yeah, this is last time I saw.
this?
Last time this is one of this is
hey.
the
Probably forgot this story.
third tattoo I've ever gotten. No, fourth tattoo I've ever gotten. But it's my grandfather. The last time I got to see him, and I thank Ella for this every day. Ella, she like her dad has a cool job, and they had flyer miles, and my parents were in Panama, and she's like, we're gonna go see your grandpa. I was like, all right, cool. And we used your dad's flyer miles, so God bless you for that. That I will never not thank her for that. But we went, and on the way back, because my grandpa was like older at that point in time, and I remember thinking like, oh man, would this be the last time I saw him? And as we were leaving, it's almost like he got very like emotional, and we sat in like the driveway while they were getting the car ready, and he grabbed a piece of paper and just wrote down a quote and then gave it to me. And God bless Ella, because for my birthday the following year, she gave me like a photo album of all, because we used to take the disposable camera pictures. So it was a photo album of like our whole relationship, all of our friends, everyone, and at the very back of it was that paper with my grandpa.
photo
How
of it.
sweet.
No, not a photo of it. The actual paper.
Oh, the actual paper.
Yeah, because I'm just so bad with things. She kept it. She like kept it.
Do you have it now, or she does?
I have it now. Yeah.
Super cool.
But yeah, it was the quote, and this is the quote. And then me and my sisters, my sister Janine and Jill, we got the tattoo of my grandfather's quote, and the quote is, "Be as you are, love everybody and the world, but fight." And I love that.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that's
I love it.
beautiful.
And to me, that explains you and what I love about you so much, because like you got this fight that I don't have, you know, like if shit really went down, I would try to talk my way out of it or run away, you know, like, you know, but like if my bro JC is there, it's going to be a little different, you know, like you do have a fight in you that
I try.
like, you know, I respect. Sometimes it, you know, sometimes it's not great, but just because sometimes
I'm a flawed kind of feisty, but I'm feisty.
of course, yes,
Yeah,
that's all I mean.
Good.
I
Yeah.
didn't mean to turn it on like a negative note there.
No worries.
But
Are
like,
you referring to the time that I asked you, like I told you I was going to fight you in the kitchen?
You were gonna fight me because I told you to do the dishes. Yeah. Which I mean, whatever. But anyway, like deep down though, I was sort of jealous. Like, oh man, like I've never told anyone like I'll fight you. You know, like so and some like I respected it. You can't not respect it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I love that quote, and that's why I love you.
I love you too. I wasn't actually going to fight you, but I was pissed about the
I
dishes
know,
sometimes.
and whatever, you know. But
It'd be funny if we just like didn't talk about that. Just like
now we're gonna fight. Now let's fight. I'll fight you on this table right now. No. Anyway,
cut to like us. Like,
Do you guys? I guess. Do you guys want to do a little update for your That Kid Is You fans?
oh my
What's
God!
coming-
Thank you so
what's
much. We're so
coming
bad about
up?
promoting ourselves.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Should
You
we
guys
just?
have been working really hard, despite any
I
feelings
know this
you
one's
have
long,
of
but can we
laziness. Like,
We
come
could
on.
interject this into the beginning, even if we wanted.
Okay, cool.
You know. So we just ended the show, but we got something to tell you.
Do you guys want me to fill up a pepper with hot sauce, and you guys can make an announcement?
Oh my God! No, those days are over.
That's so funny.
No deal. Huh?
For right now, though. Yeah, we're just crying, and
Yeah.
that's how it intros. We've been making an album in Argentina, or we've made an album in Argentina and Mexico, because we finished up in
True.
Mexico
That's true.
with our great friend Niko and his beautiful family, and yeah, it's gonna be coming out hopefully in the near future, guys. It's the best thing we've ever made.
You're gonna love
fantastic.
it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get a Grammy. We're trying to get a Grammy. I'm just throwing it. I feel like the more you say it out loud,
I
the more
just
it's
actually
happening.
saw both of y'all on the stage, so consider it done. It's coming.
Yeah. I'm trying to make that.
If JC
a
picks my
reality.
outfit, I'm gonna look great.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I like just purposefully pick the wrong outfit for the Grammys. Like, no, trust me, this is good. You look
Trust
great in
me.
polka dots. It's gonna be amazing.
But okay, in addition to that album, there's also a bunch of other tracks you guys are about
That's
to
true. So we
release.
have a large back catalog of all the music we've made over the past like 3 or 4 years, which we are releasing ahead of this Argentina project. So go to our Spotify, That Kid Is You, and just
Stream it.
Check it once a week,
Stream
because
it
there's
all.
going to be a new song there every week, maybe even 2 a week. So
Yeah, and they're really rad.
and they
Yeah,
are really
some of
rad.
my
Like we made
favorites
them in
are
our
coming
bedroom, but yeah, there's some bops in there.
Yeah, there
It
are some
actually,
out there.
like, I forget sometimes because I've known these songs intimately for a long time now. So it's like, it's weird to me that I'm like, oh, wait, they're just coming out. And I'm really
same.
excited. Like, I was checking today. I was like, which ones are out there? I got to see. Like, I'm ready. I want them all. And I know there's so
Thank
many
you.
people that
Thanks,
are sitting
yeah.
on the edge of their seats ready. So
Yeah, I'm stoked. This is
Yeah.
going to be the beginning of a cool rollout and great things about to happen. I feel like I said this before, but I remember, well, not even said this before, but I remember thinking, I recently thought about this probably because I was in the hospital, but I remember thinking that like, man, right after we were left to Dudeson's, it was like, I would have never thought that this is where life is right now. So I can't wait for like the unknown of the next like 2 to 3 years.
yeah.
Because holy
It's gonna
crap.
be
it was-
pretty epic.
Yeah, it was
So-
crazy.
Gonna be pretty
Wait,
epic.
quick
Yeah.
question. That song you made, you had a line that was like, I never thought I'd be looking through my nevers or
Oh,
something
I never
like
thought
that.
I'd analyze my nevers.
Never thought I'd
Yeah.
analyze my nevers. So is there anything else that you want to put out in the universe that you're trying to make happen?
Just a TikTok, I guess, because I've been talking about it for like 2 years.
You gotta get on TikTok for sure.
I mean, man, that's low-hanging fruit. We could do that. We got that.
just that.
Cool. As you know, I recently surrendered and joined the TikTok team. So
Oh, word. Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I haven't
She's
made
a
any
consumer.
videos, but I
She's a
consume.
consumer.
So
nice, yeah.
let me know if you need help.
But just that, and then like not a girlfriend because I definitely don't like want that kind of responsibility right now. But like a friend girl,
Friend
you know,
girl.
just somebody I'm like,
A girl space friend is
Yeah.
what we always used to say.
yeah, emphasis on the space.
There's a space there.
Yeah.
It's not one word, girlfriend.
It's not like
Girl
a
space
live-in
friend.
girlfriend. She's just
Well, every girl I've ever dated, I like met them. I'm like, I love you. Let's move in. You know, I've never like had to like, I can be myself. And
But you
can be
don't do
yourself
that
for a
anymore.
while. I know. Oh, nice.
I was on that Meet You in that movie.
Not anymore,
Yeah.
JC.
I'm alone now, like a new kid trying to break patterns like a pool stick. Got 2 scripted.
like a news clip. After all
All
my
my
20s, that's 2
10s.
tens. Had a suit for a cool whip, so I cosplay like a fuse. Music's on my movies.
Passing in this. I need butterflies or it's nada.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
It's like the longest like.
I don't even think I'm gonna like put anything earlier. You know, I'm just gonna have us say like we'll put it earlier. Yeah, and it's gonna be
that's
like,
funny.
You didn't put it earlier.
Yeah, just cut like small things, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, dude. We gotta have you back. Like
I know. I can't believe it
maybe
took
even
this
in
long
3
for us
episodes.
to make
You
it
know,
happen.
like
I'm
because
so
like
down.
we didn't talk about the Dudesons much. We didn't talk about boyfriends. We didn't talk about
I
the
watched
island.
a bunch of
We
boy-
didn't-
I watched a bunch of boyfriends
We didn't even talk about
today.
that good as you. All we talked about was fucking dying.